section.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
Right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. Hello, Panther Strike. DJ Big Six is in the house. Lawyer, Claudette, Nessa G, Pearly. All right, let's get into it. Mel. All right, everybody hit that like button. Thank you in advance. Okay, Talk to Me, I Talk Back is here. All right. I see you, 504 Nola. Rachel is here. Okay, We the People is in the house. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuning into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they stay putting in work. Okay, so before we get started, because we're going to talk about Diddy. Okay, Diddy's attorneys are making a bid for his freedom. You all know that he goes for sentencing October the 3rd, and they are pulling out all the stops and giving the judge reasons why he should be out of there. They're saying he's been in jail long enough. Okay, he has been there long enough. And so that all been said, his friends and family have written letters in support of him, and that includes Young Miami. So we're going to get into it, but first, let's have a brief word from our sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Because September the 16th made it 1 year that Diddy has been in jail. Okay? Defense tells judge that Sean Diddy Combs has served enough time behind bars. And then we're going to get into these legal docs, all right, and these letters that people have written. Okay, so lawyers for music mogul Sean Diddy Combs urged a New York federal judge on Monday to sentence him early next month. to no more than 14 months in prison for his conviction on 2 prostitution-related charges, meaning he'd go free almost immediately if the judge agreed. Now, the lawyers made their arguments in a written submission to Judge Arun Subramanian, who had already rejected a proposed $50 million bail package, signaling that he doesn't believe the Grammy-winning artist is close to being released. Now, they say Mr. Combs' celebrity status in the realms of music, fashion, spirits, media, and finance has been shattered, and Mr. Combs' legacy has been destroyed. This is what his attorneys wrote, saying that their client has been punished enough. Now, the submission provided new information about what life behind bars for nearly 13 months has been like for Mr. Combs, what's happened to his businesses and other interests, and explains why he turned down a plea deal offer from prosecutors prior to his trial. Now, Combs faces an October 3rd sentencing after his July conviction by a Manhattan jury on 2 Mann Act charges that outlaw interstate commerce related to prostitution. Each charge carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Now, the Bad Boy Records founder was exonerated on more serious racketeering, conspiracy, and ass trafficking charges that would have required a minimum of 15 years in prison and the possibility of a life sentence. In their submission, Combs' lawyers argued that a jury sent a loud message to the judge by exonerating him of the most serious charges. Put simply, the jury has spoken. Now, its verdict represents an affirmative indication of innocence. That's what his attorneys say. They say he has served over a year in one of the most notorious jails in America, yet has made the most out of that punishment. It is time for Mr. Combs to go home to his family so he can continue his treatment and try to make the most of the next chapter of his extraordinary life. Prosecutors who will submit their recommendations prior to the October 3rd sentencing have already said they'll urge Combs to stay imprisoned substantially longer than the 4 to 5 years they initially thought. Now, defense lawyers, though, wrote in their submission Monday that prosecutors have lost all perspective. Mr. Combs' career and reputation have been destroyed, they say. His life outside of jail has been systematically dismantled. And among other things, they noted that he had to let go over 100 employees from his businesses, and many of them have been unable to get new jobs because of their past association with Mr. Combs. His 7 children, they say, have faced devastating consequences, including lost business opportunities in acting, television, fashion, and concerts, with some of them being included in some of the nearly 100 civil lawsuits filed against Mr. Combs since his arrest. The lawyers also noted that Combs and his family were set to star in a Hulu show about their lives, but the show was canceled once the allegations against him became public. Combs was removed from the boards at 3 charter schools that he created in Harlem, as well as the Bronx and Connecticut, and was stripped of an honorary doctorate degree from Howard University, which plans to return his prior donations. So meanwhile, Combs' life in prison has been harrowing at times, even as it has allowed him to become sober for the first time in 25 years, according to his attorneys. On one occasion, another inmate approached Mr. Combs with a sheaf, accusing Combs of sitting on a chair that the inmate wanted to sit on. Do y'all hear this? Before Combs diffused the situation and calmed the man down, and calmed him and his makeshift weapon down. They say, what kind of weapon is that? Hold on, y'all know I don't know about the prison life, honey. Hold on. Let me look this up real quick. Hold on, let me see what this is. Okay, it's like a homemade knife or other sharp weapon. It's like a shank. They said the term is often used interchangeably with a shank. Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I just want to make sure because I have never heard them call it that. Have any of you a shiv? I guess that's how you say it, SHIV, a sheave. A shank sounds much better, but let's continue. Y'all know me, I'm nosy. I'm trying to figure out what is this? What are they talking about? Okay, so anyway, said that he calmed him and his makeshift weapon down. Not a makeshift weapon. Now, they said he has been under constant suicide watch, meaning every 2 hours he must present his identification card to guards to show he is alive and well and is awakened from sleep in a brightly lighted cell by a guard to ensure he is well. He also has limited access to clean water, leaving him to heat the water that he drinks, that to ensure it won't make him sick. And he must sleep within 2 feet of other inmates in a dorm-style room containing a bathroom and a door and no door. Let me tell y'all something. Right here is where they need to sit down somewhere, okay? Right here is where they need to sit down somewhere. Now, I could see them telling the judge in the letter about the shank and the inmate approaching him or whatever, because that's a dangerous situation. Now, I could see him explaining that, but all this other stuff he's explaining, well, the judge is probably thinking too bad and so sad, because everybody in jail has to deal with that. That's one of the things that happens when we go to jail. Okay. Ha, Lorraine said Diddy is on his Shawshank Redemption. Right. So I'm just saying, I don't know why they're making that argument, because it's really not even an argument, because that's what everybody has to go through. So anyway, goes on to say Mr. Combs has not breathed fresh air in nearly 13 months. I'm sure neither has anyone else that's incarcerated in that jail or felt sunlight on his skin. This is just too damn much. Are y'all listening? Now they're doing too darn much. Are y'all listening? Hold on. Now I have to pause right here, because this is just getting cute to me right now. Not that they said, say what now? Did y'all hear it? It says, let me read this again. Said that he has not breathed fresh air in nearly 13 months or felt sunlight on his skin. Honey, they sound like they. Now, this is just going too far right here. I'm sorry. They should have left that part all out. Claudette said that letter may be more harmful than good. Well, I tell you, it's not going to do that part. It's not going to do him any favors. So the judge is going to sit there and be like, oh, okay, well, let me let him on out because he needs to feel the sunlight on his skin. The judge doesn't care about any of that, because, as I said, everybody in a jail cell goes through that. You don't get to go out into the sun. You don't get to bask in the glory of it. Okay, when you're in jail, there are some things that are definitely going to be an inconvenience for you. And that's the point of jail. It's not supposed to be like a bed of roses, is all I'm saying. So he says, they say often walking with a limp due to a painful knee injury that requires surgery. And the food they added sometimes contains maggots. Okay, they need to just give it up at this point. So I'm not even going to read the rest of this. We're going to get into the legal docs. Okay. We're going to get into the legal docs. With that all being said, that right there, I believe, is quite frankly unnecessary. Right? Unnecessary. So I'm going to share my screen. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, let me get an overlay. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. This is 182 pages, but of course, we're not going to read all those pages, okay? We're just going to read a few things. All right. Okay, the government accused Sean Combs of heinous crimes. It branded him an evil trafficker and racketeer who coerced and defrauded his girlfriends into having sex against their will. But none of that was true. And Mr. Combs exercised his constitutional right to fight the allegations and put the government to its proof at a jury trial. And at that trial, the government deployed the full force of its awesome power. For 8 weeks, it presented the best evidence it could muster to support those disturbing allegations. But it failed to prove them because the trial revealed the true facts. 12 attentive jurors heard all of the evidence. They heard the testimony of Mr. Combs' girlfriends. They saw thousands of text messages, emails, videos, and other documents about the relationships and events in question. Those 12 citizens diligently applied the court's instructions on the law to that evidence and unanimously rejected the government's sordid tale of coercion and racketeering. The jury's verdict could not have been clearer or more consistent. The jury found that Mr. Combs is not guilty of forcing, coercing, or defrauding either Cassandra Ventura or Jane, and that he is not guilty of RICO conspiracy. But the jury did find Mr. Combs guilty of prostitution offenses, obviously because, as the government emphasized in closing argument, those counts didn't require proof of threats of force, fraud, or coercion. Now, put simply, the jury has spoken. Its verdict represents an affirmative indication of innocence. Mr. Combs must be sentenced for what the jury convicted him of: interstate transportation of fully consenting adults with intent to engage in prostitution. But it would be unlawful and a perversion of justice for the court to sentence him as if the jury had convicted him of trafficking and RICO, or to increase his sentence based on the court's own findings about force or coercion or racketeering. What is the point of a jury trial if the defendant can be acquitted but then sentenced as if he had been convicted? Doing so nullifies the entire purpose of a jury. Now, this is all true. This is all true, and I absolutely have to agree with that. Because remember, the sentencing guidelines say one thing, but at the end of the day, it is also up to the judge's discretion to determine what he wants to sentence him to. Okay? And the judge could try to take into consideration some of the allegations, even though he wasn't convicted, or some of the domestic violence incidents. Okay? Now, with that being said, juries are democratic institutions called upon to represent the community as a bulwark between the state and the accused, and their verdicts are the tools by which they do so. Consistent with this, juries were historically able to use acquittals and various ways to limit the state's authority to punish, an ability that the founders prized. With an acquittal, the jury as representative of the community has been asked by the state to authorize punishment for an alleged crime and has refused to do so. Now, they reference several cases and they say that is why acquittals have long been accorded special weight and are traditionally treated as inviolate even if a judge disagrees with the jury's verdict. Now, accordingly, Supreme Court justices from across the ideological spectrum and many other jurists, lawyers, and commentators have opined that using acquitted conduct to enhance a sentence violates the Fifth and Sixth Amendments, as well as fundamental principles of fairness and justice. It also erodes the perceived fairness of the criminal justice system. Indeed, the woman on the street would be quite taken aback to learn that a person's sentence could be increased based on acquitted conduct. Now, yet both the probation office and the government ask the court to do just that. Probation recommends guidelines enhancements based on acquitted conduct and the imposition of a sentence 5 times longer than the average sentence for Mann Act defendants with similar criminal histories, and justifies this lengthy sentence based on the supposed fraud and coercion that the jury rejected. The prosecutors, for their part, have lost all perspective. They advocate for numerous enhancements even probation didn't find warranted, and seek to sentence Mr. Combs under a different enhancement for a crime he was never charged with, which would result in guidelines range above the statutory maximum of 20 years. This is wildly out of proportion to the conduct at issue. Threesomes were fully competent adult men, or where fully competent adult men and women voluntarily crossed lines and had consensual sex with each other, and the defendant made no money from the conduct. We were unaware of any other Mann Act prosecution based on such conduct. Nevertheless, the median sentence for Mann Act defendants sentenced under the applicable guideline and criminal history category 1 to 12 months incarceration, and the average sentence is under 15 months, even when one includes defendants who received the coercion enhancement. Now, thus, probation recommends a sentence 5 times the typical sentence. The government apparently believes a sentence 20 times the typical sentence may be appropriate. This draconian approach makes Alice in Wonderland's Queen of Hearts seem benevolent. Instead of sentence first, verdict afterwards, the government's view is verdict be damned, lock him up and throw away the key. Let me tell you all something about this. The fact that they can do this is absolutely a violation of one's rights. Because here's the thing, they're absolutely correct when they ask the question of, if you're able to sentence them based off of things of which they were not even convicted, what is the point of having a jury? What is the point of having a jury? You can just sit up here, and even though the person's acquitted, you can still sentence them as though they got convicted of those other crimes too. That is absolutely crazy. And if you ask me, that's just the Fed's way of sticking it to people. Okay, specifically people that they have a problem with, all right, or whom they believe is a menace, or for whatever reason they just, really, really want to target them. That gives them the ability to do so. Now, with that all being said, fairness and justice, as well as the Constitution, federal sentencing law, and common sense require a far lower sentence in this unique case. Mr. Combs is an extraordinary person who has made monumental professional and personal contributions throughout his 55 years to society and his family, his community, and beyond. And just as importantly, Mr. Combs has much more to give. It will not serve any of the purposes of sentencing to keep him incarcerated and away from his elderly mother and 7 children, unable to contribute meaningfully to the community as he has throughout his adult life. Although his father was murdered on the streets of Manhattan when he was just 3 years old, Mr. Combs pursued a life of hard work, love, family, and faith. He went to Howard University, entered the world of entertainment in New York City, built extraordinary businesses, and created a new culture and image for Black Americans, which had a lasting impact on music, fashion, and other industries throughout the world. Along the way, he empowered and inspired generations. At the same time, he nourished a growing family and a community, becoming a father and a father figure to those that needed him. He dedicated substantial energy, resources, and passion to charitable work and made personal sacrifices for others so they too could thrive. It was not easy, and Mr. Combs overcame substantial obstacles. He lost many loved ones, including his father, his best friend Christopher Wallace, professionally known as Notorious B.I.G., and as well as the love of his life and mother of his 4 children, 4 of his children, Kim Porter, and most recently his mentor, Andre Harrell. These events were devastating, and for decades, Mr. Combs struggled with serious substance abuse issues, anger and anxiety, and other flaws that he did not properly or professionally address until his incarceration last year. In respect, Mr. Combs' near 13 months in prison has been life-changing, productive, and a testament to his desire to return to his family and community and lead the best life possible. He has taken the time to achieve necessary rehabilitation from day one at the MDC, including getting clean of all substances. And while he and his doctors have worked productively with all the available therapeutic tools at the MDC and made significant progress, his doctors all agree that the next step in Mr. Combs' treatment to ensure the changes he has made last a lifetime require therapy that can only effectively be provided outside of prison walls. Mr. Combs has 7 children, 4 by now deceased Kim Porter, who desperately await their father for his return to their lives. Quincy, Justin, Christian, Chance, twins, Delilah and Jesse, and 2-year-old daughter, Love. His 84-year-old mother, Janice Combs, who has had brain surgery and was hospitalized for heart concerns right before his arrest, also needs him. As she writes to this court, she depends on Sean for emotional support. He always looked after my health and well-being. I don't know how much longer I will be around, and I would love to be able to see him and his children together again. That's from the letter that his mother wrote. Okay? That's a quote from the letter that his mother wrote. All right? Honey, people are going in for Diddy. I want y'all to pay attention. They're landing on pretty thick. Now, the court has a difficult task when fashioning any sentence, but here the right answer could not be more obvious. In the past 2 years, Mr. Combs' career and reputation have been destroyed. He has served over a year in one of the most notorious jails in America, yet has made the most of his punishment. It is time for Mr. Combs to go home to his family so he can continue his treatment and try to make the most of the next chapter of his extraordinary life. A sentence no greater than 14 months is plainly sufficient, but not greater than necessary to accomplish the purposes of sentencing articulated in 18 U.S.C. Statute 3553. It is the only just and fair sentence that could be imposed. Now, argument. Sentencing courts must fashion a punishment that fits the offender and not merely the crime. As the court is aware, it must consider and weigh all the factors enumerated in 18 USC Statute 3553 and shall impose a sentence sufficient but not greater than necessary to achieve the goals of sentencing. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down a bit. We're going to skip over some of this because now they get into talking about how he was traumatized by the violent death of his father, how he went to school, just things about him when he was growing up. Okay. Let me see. I think this is a letter. Hold on. Oh, so this is a quote from Diddy in 2014. They say 27 years after sitting in the library with a microfilm, Mr. Combs was back at Howard University delivering the school's 146th commencement address. He shared his most important moment at Howard, which was one of the most important moments of his life, with the graduating class of 2014, the professors, and all the people in attendance. He stated the following: "My world has changed here at Howard. On my second day of school, I learned something that would change the course of my life forever. I don't talk about this often. I was raised by a single mother. My dad, Mr. Melvin Combs, died when I was 3 years old. There was something about that didn't feel right. There was something in my soul that was telling me otherwise. So as soon as I got here, I went to the library and I did some research. I used the microfilm I found. I searched all the newspapers. When I typed in my father's name in the day he died, I read in the Amsterdam News that he had been murdered in a rug deal gone bad. Right there in that library, I realized there is nothing more important than family." I don't know if you all saw him give that speech because I did. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll down a bit more. Okay, now this is part of the letter from Quincy. Okay, this is part of the letter that Quincy wrote about his stepfather, Diddy. So in 1994, he met the longtime love of his life, Kim Porter. Miss Porter had a child through another relationship, Quincy Brown, who she was raising as a single mother. Mr. Combs quickly stepped in as a father to Quincy when he was 4 years old. He has been the only father figure in Quincy's life for as long as he can remember, as Quincy notes in his letter. He says, "He stepped in and stepped up as a father at an important time in my life, during my most formative years, in a way that no one else could have. He poured his love into me in a way that I couldn't quite recognize as a child, a love that I'd only received from women in my life. It was unconditional, safe, and unwavering. It still is. He put me first. He went out of his way at any and every opportunity without hesitation to make me feel like he'd been there the whole time. Having never experienced the love of a father before then, it was all so foreign to me. I didn't know what I didn't know that I was the recipient of a man's love. That is, until I began to witness the love that he had for my mother. It was tremendous and true." All right, so that's part of Quincy's letter. Now, Mr. Combs' love for Quincy made an impression on those around him. Mr. Combs' security guard at the time noted that Mr. Combs loved and embraced Quincy like he was his own and was an amazing and loving dad to Quincy and to Justin and Quincy. Okay, so Miss Porter's best friend, Norman DeKeith, remarks that Mr. Combs has always loved Quincy and raised him as his own. All right, now, and this is part of the letter, LaWanda Lane. Another one of Kim Porter's best friends says, who now takes care of the twins, says, likewise, or she likewise says that she has never seen Mr. Combs fail to be there for Quincy. Okay, Mr. Combs went above and beyond without Miss Porter ever having to ask. Quincy attended the best private schools, had the best tutors, was very well kept, and Sean was constantly poured into him as if he was his father. Although Mr. Combs was busy building bad boy records, he always found time to spend with his two sons. Now, as he started to have more children, Mr. Combs's commitments to his family expanded. Now, this is part of a letter from, hold on, from M. Irving. Okay, Miss Porter's assistant, Karen Lindsay, noted that. Okay. Miss Porter's former assistant, Kim Lindsay, noted that Mr. Combs never made distinctions between biological children and those he loved as his own. Now, I saw a father who wanted his children to have normalcy, values, and love. Okay, and that's part of the letter that Lindsay wrote. So in 1998, now I want you all to pay attention because a lot of people wrote letters for Diddy. Just so you all know, a lot of people wrote letters for Diddy. Now in 1998, Miss Porter and Mr. Combs had their first biological child together, Christian Combs. Mr. Combs and Miss Porter had an on and off relationship over the next 2 decades. During this time, Mr. Combs had his oldest daughter, Chance Combs, with girlfriend Sarah Chapman. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Combs and Miss Porter had twin daughters, Delilah and Jessie. The 3 girls are almost like triplets and enjoy a tremendously close relationship with one another and their father. Chance Combs writes that, now this is part of Chance's letter, my dad has always been our foundation. Okay, the twins say they agree that he has been nothing but the best father to us and all of our siblings. Miss Porter's longtime assistant notes that Mr. Combs and Miss Porter co-parented their children with grace and unity. She says, what I witnessed during those years shaped not only my view of Mr. Combs as a father and partner, but also as a friend, navigating immense pressure and responsibility. Throughout the years, I saw Mr. Combs and Miss Porter co-parent with mutual respect and a shared commitment to their family. I watched them support one another through parenting challenges with grace and unity. He was present, whether it was flying in on short notice to help guide the children through difficult times, joining family vacations with his mother and loved ones, or simply calling to ask how Kim was really doing. His presence was intentional and meaningful. All right, so what do you all think? People are saying nice things about the diddler. Now, the trial record made this clear as well. Mr. Combs' former assistant, George Kaplan, testified that Mr. Combs always seemed to have an extra gauge of patience with Miss Porter. Miss Porter seemed to make Mr. Combs really happy, even when he was otherwise not. He treated her in a very special manner that just felt different than the way he treated others. Tragically, in November of 2018, Miss Porter unexpectedly passed away from pneumonia at 48 years old. Mr. Combs was gutted, devastated, and to say the least, extremely heartbroken. He lost his best friend and mother to 4 of his kids. He immediately became Mr. Mom and Dad. He had to do the unthinkable, which is tell his children that their mom passed away. Losing Miss Porter caused him to spiral into a deep grief that impacted him profoundly. While he was grieving, he stepped up and made it a priority to be present with us at a time when he didn't even know how to be there for himself. Okay, now for Mr. Combs' children, he became the only person that we could turn to. He became our rock. Losing her sent all of us into a dark place. Okay, now that's from part of a letter that Quincy wrote. Said losing her sent all of them into a dark place. Jesse and Delilah Combs, who were just 11 years old at the time of their mom's passing, remember their lives changing that day. This is part of their letter. On November the 15th of 2018, our lives changed in the biggest way. That was the day we lost our mother. She was everything to us and most amazing mom that we could have ever asked for. Since that day, Sean Combs, our father, has stepped up and has had to play the role of both parents in our lives. It was a very hard adjustment, but our dad has done everything he could to make it as easy as possible for us. He's shown up for everything to support us to no matter what. He has taught us how to become great young women as we grow into adults. Now, the twins' longtime babysitter, Miss Oliveira, writes that in the time that she watched the twins, she was able to see what a devoted father he was. Okay, she says in her letter, he was a devoted father who lights up at the sight of his children, the man who works tirelessly to create a beautiful life for them. He is the kind of father who asks for photos and videos and so many FaceTime calls when he was away from for work because he missed them so much. Mr. Combs would do his best to always make sure that the kids' mental health was good during this time. Miss Keith writes that since Miss Porter's passing, she has witnessed Sean Combs become an anchor for their children and a steady rock in the storm of their grief. I have seen him carry this responsibility with grace, showing up not only as a parent, but as a spiritual guide and source of strength for them. Now, in a letter of N. Keith, longtime friend of the family, Derek Osorio, aka Chuck Bone, also notes that Mr. Combs remains involved, proud, and fully present after Miss Porter's death. He notes that Mr. Combs navigated Kim's passing with strength and grace, remaining grounded in his role as a father during an incredibly difficult time. Now, similarly, a longtime colleague recalls that Mr. Combs sprang into action, surrounded the girls with all whom loved them and their mother, and took on the role of mother and father. Even through his grief, he prioritized the children and encouraged them to keep their mother's memory alive, but insisted they move forward in life. Okay, and then there's a letter from Kate Etheridge. Mr. Combs started employing a chef named Carla around that time in 2019. So that would be Carla Etheridge. Mr. Combs, this is what she writes. Mr. Combs was going through a period of deep personal pain and depression. Even though he was clearly struggling emotionally, he still treated those around him with kindness and respect. It was during that time that I saw just how strong and resilient he really is. He leaned on his faith and his love for his children, and slowly I watched him find his strength again. It was inspiring to witness someone in his position be so vulnerable, yet still so committed to others. Now, this is a letter from Kay Lemos. Said Mr. Combs' dream was to have more children, and 4 years after Miss Porter's death, on October the 6th of 2022, Mr. Combs welcomed his seventh child, Love Combs, who he has co-parented with Dana Tran. Miss Tran notes that Mr. Combs is deeply committed to being present for Love and his other children. Now, in the letter from Dana Tran, here's what she says. Okay, Love is the center of his universe and has brought immense joy to the whole family. Mr. Combs has had an unwavering commitment to his children despite his busy work schedule, running multiple companies and pursuing his music career. Okay, there's a letter from M. Hatcher. Mr. Combs' eldest daughter, Chan, says that my dad has always been our foundation. He's not only a hardworking businessman, but he's also the one who makes sure we're cared for and supported. She says, let's say Miss Porter's close friend, Ebony Ware, said no matter how busy and in demand he was, he showed up for everything, big or small, in his kids' lives. He celebrated them in a big way. Okay, now family friend Valerie Payton describes him as a doting father who is caring, loving, and fun. He has made it a priority to be there for his children throughout their lives, especially since Miss Porter's passing and despite his hectic work schedule and travel. His son Justin recalls falling into a deep depression when he stopped playing football, and it was his father who saved him. And this is what he says. I felt like I had failed, and the weight of public expectation crushed me. I was lost, and I carried a darkness I couldn't shake. My father, despite fighting battles of his own, reached into my pain and pulled me back into the light. He gave me his time when it was the one thing he had so little of. He reminded me that I was worthy of love, forgiveness, and grace. My father saved me, and I say that with all of the honesty in my heart. Now that's from Justin's letter. He also showed up for his other children. His son Christian notes that there was never a time my father wasn't there for me, and my father didn't make me feel special. His longtime stylist, June Choi, writes that Mr. Combs made it a priority to attend his twin daughters' cheerleading performances at their high school football games. It was a clear reflection of the love and commitment he has for his family. He has been the foundation and backbone for them all. Now, a longtime colleague has noted Mr. Combs' unwavering dedication to his family, despite the demands of an extraordinarily busy career. His personal commitment reflects a sense of responsibility and loyalty that goes beyond his professional life. Now, Miss Etheridge, a longtime colleague, notes that Mr. Combs's most important role is that of a parent. He has done a remarkable job making sure home base is filled with the necessities and a village to keep not only the girls focused and loved, but their three brothers and two sisters as well. Longtime friend of Mr. Combs is Hadmira Leacock notes that he has gone above and beyond to provide stability, guidance, and love for his children, ensuring they grow up grounded despite the demands of his public life. Even with these career demands, his family has always been his anchor. He has always been present at pivotal moments in their lives, balancing his professional obligations with a steadfast role as a father and son. Miss Porter's best friend and caretaker of Mr. Combs's twins notes that she has always been amazed at how he could be working in the studio or be on set for a movie at the office and always be there for his kids no matter what was going on. Mr. Combs has instilled commitment to faith and religion in his children as well. Miss Porter's longtime friend Marsha Irving noted that she attended church with Sean and his children on several occasions and witnessed the spiritual foundation he worked to instill in his home. He often hosted Sunday dinners that centered around faith and family. A letter from M. Irving. That would be Marsha Irving. This observation was also echoed by Mr. Combs's former chef, who notes that you can learn a lot about someone's character by how they raise their children. For Mr. Combs, that meant with strong values and love. Now, she recalls that during her employment, every Sunday morning, he would step outside and loudly thank God before heading to church with his kids. It wasn't for show, it was sincere. And I felt that it showed just how important faith and family are to him. Mr. Combs has served as a constant example of Black fatherhood done right, involved, nurturing, and proud. Whether supporting his daughters in their modeling careers or guiding his sons through business and music ventures, Sean is not just present, he's intentional. Now, another former Bad Boy employee who has been Mr. Combs' longtime friend of 30 years, Jamel Spencer, reflected on Mr. Combs' deep commitment to his family and his faith, saying that he consistently gave all the glory to God and was working tirelessly to be an example to his children and make his mother, Mama Combs, proud. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Mr. Combs' absence for the past year has been devastating for his children. Sarah Chapman, Chance's mother, has noted this because she had witnessed the way he's been able to bring all his children together for family occasions, every annual holiday, birthdays, and simply be a dependable dad. With Mr. Combs's incarceration, Justin writes, "My sisters are especially vulnerable. They no longer have their mother, and without my dad, they lack the steady hand and protective love they need. I try to step in as their older brother, but nothing can replace the unique comfort of a father's presence." Now, Mr. Combs's incarceration has changed all of that. The home Mr. Combs had created was not a place of entitlement or ego. It was a home of structure, respect, and intentional care. It was not perfect, but it was real. It was family. Now, Mr. Combs has a large family and prioritized large family gatherings to keep those around him close. For the past nearly 13 months, however, oops, the sense of closeness for his family has been shattered with Mr. Combs incarcerated, as his twin daughters note. Now, this is what Jesse and Delilah say. On September the 16th of 2024, our world shattered. That was the day our dad was arrested and sent to jail. On that day, it felt like we had lost everything. Ever since then, we have been forced to navigate our lives during an extremely hard and overwhelming time without parents. No mom or dad to go to when we are sad, happy, excited, nervous, stressed, lonely, anxious, overwhelmed, or depressed. This world can be a very evil place, and when people try and tear you down, sometimes you need a mom or dad to go to for love and support, which we don't have. We have gone through such important and challenging times in our lives, such as becoming seniors in high school, starting our new business, cheering at our school's football and basketball games, graduating high school, the passing of our great grandmother, who was our mom's grandmother, and so many more tough times, all without our parents. What do you all think? Do you think these letters are going to tug at the judge's heartstrings, that maybe he'll show Diddy some mercy, perhaps, and won't go so hard on him? I don't know. What do you all think? Now, Quincy, Christian, Jesse, and Delilah have done their best to navigate in the past year without a father or a mother. But this has been difficult. As Chance Combs writes, we've missed so much over the past year with him and can't imagine him missing any more milestones in our lives. Okay, they have had to support each other as siblings without parents during the twins' senior year in high school, a formative year for adolescent girls. Now, Chance, who moved into NYU at the time Mr. Combs was arrested, described the past year as really hard on all of us. It doesn't feel right at home without him here. We miss him every day, and I know how much he wants to be with us and face this situation responsibly. Notably, his children were top of mind when he was arrested. He stressed to the psychology department that he would really like to speak with his children, particularly ensure his children who do not have a parent in the community due to their mother passing away are doing okay. He was concerned that, and that part, as you can see, is redacted. Love was at a critical stage of development when Mr. Combs was incarcerated, and his visits with her had been greatly reduced while he has been at MDC. Although Miss Tran has tried to keep her life as normal as possible, the absence of Love's father has taken a noticeable toll. Now, Miss Tran notes that Love is bright and curious, and she often becomes frustrated that she cannot see her daddy. Love is a precocious toddler and asks many questions to her mother and siblings as to why she cannot be with him or why she can only see him under his current circumstances. When she hears his voice over the phone, she lights up. It is clear how important he is to her sense of safety, happiness, and belonging. Mr. Combs' absence has been similarly difficult on Miss Combs, who notes that. Now, this is what his mother, Miss Combs, says, saying, I also depend on Sean for emotional support. He always looked after my health and well being. This was crucial as I have no one else to care for me. Four of his children lost their mother not too long ago. The kids, especially the boys, are still having a very difficult time dealing with the loss of their mother. The loss of their father has been devastating. His absence has also been hard on his nephew, who is in the autism spectrum. Mr. Combs and his nephew, SD, have a unique and profound bond. Mr. Combs connects and understands his nephew in a way few others can, knowing when to talk, when to simply listen, and when to just sit quietly with him. To his nephew, Mr. Combs is not just Uncle Sean, but a steady, loving presence who makes him feel understood and accepted. Mr. Combs has always been supportive of his nephew and has used his resources to help his nephew's nephew's medical needs, including Kawasaki disease treatment and therapy. Wow, I never heard of that Kawasaki disease. I'm gonna have to look that up. And helped foster his nephew's interest, such as hockey and derby racing. Mr. Combs' brother-in-law recalls that when SD was diagnosed with autism, Mr. Combs helped them secure the best therapy and care. Okay, support that has contributed to SD maintaining his place on the honor roll in honor society for the past 6 years. Now, his credit such he credits much of SD's success and progress to Mr. Combs' love and attention. Mr. Combs is also a dedicated nephew and cousin. His Aunt Judy writes that she and her daughter have grown up knowing Sean as a constant figure in their lives. And hold on. Okay, as Aubrey's cousin and Taylor's Uncle Puffy, my family has shared a deep generational bond with him and his family as a cherished member of our extended family. Now, his cousin Trevin Jones recalls the close relationship between his father, who passed away last year, and Mr. Combs. Mr. Jones's father did not inform Mr. Combs of his battle with lung cancer until the very end. And when Mr. Combs found out, he reached out and spoke to him. When he heard Sean's voice, his face lit up with life. Countless longtime friends and family note Mr. Combs' devotion to his family and his children's need to be reunited with their father again. Y'all, this is all heartfelt. What do y'all think? Pulling at the heartstrings or not? Ms. Combs begs this court to allow Mr. Combs to raise his children and to instill in them the need to be respectful, get an education, and just be God's children with love in their hearts. I beg your honor to let him help them through the healing process from the loss of their mother and the pain and sleepless nights they have had since his incarceration. Now, Justin Combs begs this court to allow Mr. Combs the chance to come home to be with the father his children desperately need, or to be the father his children desperately need, and to continue the work of becoming the man I know he is capable of being. All right. Now, Christian Combs laments that this has been the worst year anyone could ever go through with his father in jail. This sentiment is echoed by others. Now, former employee Ms. De Niro notes that his family needs him, his mother needs him, and his daughters, the twins, Chance, and his youngest, all need him. They depend on his love, guidance, and presence. He is central to their lives, and they to his. Being with them is vital for their healing and for his. And I know he would use this time to continue being the steady, loving influence they have always known. One of Miss Porter's best friends notes that, in short, these young people will need their father as this formative time in at this formative time in their lives. Now, Mr. Combs' former chef, Ariel Malone notes that beyond the workplace, I came to know Mr. Combs as a devoted father and partner. His deep love and commitment to his children were evident every day. His absence has been felt profoundly within his family, and it also has also rippled outward. Another longtime friend of Mr. Combs's, Ishay Omolabi, notes that his children have had to share their father with the rest of the world. They need him more than ever. His boys are at the age when boys become men, and they need his guidance, and his little girls need the protection, safety, and positive male influence from their father. Mr. Combs' former girlfriend, Carisha Brownlee, that's Young Miami, for those of you who don't know, notes that but more than anything, he's a father, and his kids are the ones who look up to him the most. They need him, his presence, love, and guidance more deeply in their lives. She says, Mr. Combs deeply misses his mother and children, who have been his anchor and source of strength during this challenging separation. Mr. Combs' family came first, but his work history, impact on the Black community, and entrepreneurship are celebrated and iconic. In 1987, while a student at Howard, Mr. Combs began working for free at Uptown Records. Now, with that all being said, now I'm going to read the full letter from Young Miami. Okay, now I'm going to read Young Miami's full letter. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Because included is just a snippet of it. But I'm going to read the whole thing. All right. Pearlie said, that's a lie, Queen. What's a lie, honey? You said it ain't true. Grant said, it's crazy how it took this long for media to speak on the positive things Puff has done. I know, right? Isn't it interesting? Sierra Leone said, a lot of people that are in prison, kids need them. Diddy's kids are grown now. Sierra, no empathy for Diddy. Solo down of you. Okay. Look at Queen Sam. Says some serial killers have children, but they still have to pay for the crimes they've committed. Y'all are going in. Oh my goodness. Y'all are something else. Okay, Kane says, oh boy, they write these letters in almost every case. So everyone who's ever had a sentencing is begging, or it's just Diddy and his people. I swear, some of you, sheesh. Yeah, they do write letters in support for their loved ones. That is what people do, beloved. So with that all being said, he gave millions to charities. Brett says he's gave millions to charities and schools. How much have any of the detractors have given? Good question, beloved. Good question. Okay, so now let's hear what Young Miami has to say. Okay, so I'm going to share this on the screen. Share this on the screen. Like stuff, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, here we go. Okay, dear Your Honor, excuse me, dear Your Honor, my name is Carisha Brownlee. I'm a mother, daughter, sister, and a hip hop artist who has spent many years in the public eye. I want to be clear that I cannot speak on or defend anything that may have happened before I met Sean Combs. I do not condone any wrongdoing. I can only speak from my personal experience and the man I've come to know over the past 4 years. For 3 of those years, I was in a public relationship with Sean. And during that time, I witnessed and came to know a different person than the one often portrayed. Behind the scenes, he was loving, genuine, supportive, and always encouraging. He motivated me, believed in me, and and helped me to grow both personally and professionally. I'm writing this letter because I believe it's important for the court to know the side of Sean that isn't always seen or spoken about. The man who poured into others, who gave opportunities, who led by example, and who loved deeply. He helped shape me both professionally and personally. He believed in me, pushed me to grow, and taught me how to be a better businesswoman. He helped me find balance between chasing my dreams and being present for my family because that's what he did, no matter how busy he was. He never missed holidays or special moments with his family. One of my most meaningful memories was when he took me to my first Met Gala. It wasn't just about the event, it was about what it represented. Sean has always made it a priority to open doors for Black people, to make sure we are seen, heard, and valued in spaces where we've historically been excluded. That night reminded me that we belong in every room, at every table, and in every conversation. He's constantly encouraged me and so many others to dream bigger, walk in confidence, and never shrink of who we are to make the others comfortable. He also gave me a voice by providing me a platform on his network to speak for the culture and connect with people in a way that was real and authentic. That opportunity changed the direction of my career and showed me the impact one person can have when they choose to uplift others. Beyond all of that, I've seen him give back to his community over and over again. In 2022, we fed the homeless together on Thanksgiving. So I want you all to pay attention. Now, here's the thing. At the end of the day, does anybody have an idea of exactly why Young Miami is actually why Young Miami actually wrote this letter for Diddy? Does anyone have an idea? Because, it could be just me, but I happen to think that she likely wrote this letter because Miami has been very quiet. She hasn't come out and addressed or said anything about Diddy the entire time that Diddy has been in jail. And I happen to think that just maybe all of this is because Gina wrote a letter for Diddy showing her support. And let's not forget how Gina in Miami had this whole beef going on about Diddy. Okay, please pay attention. All right. So, anyway, let's continue. It goes on to say, beyond all of that, I've seen him give back to his community over and over again. In 2022, we fed the homeless together on Thanksgiving, but that was just one example. Now, let me go to the next page. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. She says, but that was just one example. And now many moments where he gave quietly, privately, without cameras, because his heart genuinely wanted to help. I've also witnessed him doing real inner work. He made the choice to check himself into anger management, start therapy, and commit to physical healing through therapy. That takes strength, humility, and self-awareness. He didn't do it for show. He did it because he wanted to grow and to become a better person. In my personal experience, Sean is not a danger or a threat to the community. He is a man of God, someone who uplifts, supports, and inspires those around him to be better mentally, physically, and spiritually. But more than anything, he's a father, and his kids are the ones who look to him the most. They need him. His presence, love, and guidance matter deeply in their lives. I truly believe that he belongs at home with his family, the people who mean the most to him, and who continue to be his greatest source of purpose and strength. Judge, that's a good man. Thank you, Carisha Brownlee. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Carisha said, that's a good man, honey. Say what? Did y'all hear it? She said, that's a good man. Okay? Y'all heard what she said? Terry said, whatever, Young Miami. Honey, I think Young Miami is like, oh, thinking, Gina, you will not outdo me. Girl, you wrote a letter, so now I got to write one too. Okay, because like I said, she's been quiet. We haven't heard a peep out of her. Okay, but let me continue. So with that all being said, she says Mr. Combs deeply misses his mother and children who have been his anchor and source of strength during this challenging separation. Now, for Mr. Combs' family came first, but his work history, impact on the Black community, and entrepreneurship are celebrated and iconic. In 1987, while a student at Howard, Mr. Combs began working for free at Uptown Records, which was created in 1986 by Andre Harrell, okay, to be the first major hip hop music label in the world. Mr. Combs grouped his classes at Howard on Tuesdays through Thursdays and took the train to New York to work with and learn from Harrell the rest of the time. Now, while at Howard, he became a mentor for other students. One of his peers, Christopher Hicks, described Mr. Combs as a popular upperclassman from New York, while Mr. Hicks was a newcomer from the Bay Area. Yet Mr. Combs, hold on, scroll too far. Okay, yet Mr. Combs took the time to mentor those of us just arriving. He offered encouragement, advice, and made himself accessible in a way that stuck with me. A lot of people saying nice things. His peer at Howard and later Bad Boy President writes that since their days at Howard, we felt a deep responsibility to uplift Black communities. Now, Mr. Combs quickly distinguished himself at Uptown Records by his hard work or his hard, tireless work. After approximately 2 years, Harrell gave him a paid job while filling in for someone who left that position. And Harrell rewarded Mr. Combs' hard work by promoting him from talent director to vice president. However, with hard work comes drive and ambition, and Harrell fired Mr. Combs in 1993 as Combs started becoming more successful on his own. We know he got fired after that City College incident. Okay, hold on, beloveds. I scrolled too far trying to find my place. Okay, here we go. So instead of seeing this as a setback, Mr. Combs saw it as an opportunity. As one former employee put it, Mr. Combs' unwavering dedication has remained constant throughout his career. Okay, being fired was not a setback because he was still intent on claiming success in the music and entertainment industry with his relentless work ethic. Through vision, discipline, and an unshakable belief in himself, Sean not only met but surpassed his goals. That same year, he created Bad Boy Records in New York. The 24-year-old Combs had a vision for a new type of business and one headed by a young black executive that emphasized black excellence and achievement. It would reflect a certain style, sound, and sensibility that was modern, hip, and urban. Before long, Mr. Combs was producing, managing, and growing numerous famous acts in the hip hop world. Former head of Bad Boy, Jeff Burrows, recalls Mr. Combs' dedication to his pursuit and work ethic to ensure the label succeeded. And this is part of a letter from Burrows. He said Sean's dedication was relentless. All-nighters were the norm, and he rarely slept more than 4 nights a week. There was a moment when I felt I couldn't continue, overwhelmed by the pace. Sean, however, refused to let me quit. He challenged me to articulate what the business needed for greater success and then dared me to secure a deal with our partner, Clive Davis. The next morning, we went together, and in that crucial meeting, Sean remained silent, simply stating, "It's Jeff's meeting." We closed the renegotiation, and the following year, the company exploded into global dominance, all while we were still in our 20s. Now, resources reflects Vashta Wilson, Mr. Combs' longtime head of human resources, reflects on her time at Bad Boy as one of the most fulfilling periods of my career. Saying the environment Mr. Combs fostered was dynamic, collaborative, and deeply rooted in purpose. The Bad Boy family wasn't just a slogan, it was a spirit of unity, creativity, and excellence. Under his leadership, a boutique record label evolved into a cultural powerhouse spanning music, fashion, and lifestyle. Mr. Combs was a visionary and a catalyst for change. Miss Williams remembers Mr. Combs and his leadership as empowering his staff to think independently and dream boldly. Mr. Combs held himself and those around him to a high standard. This discipline was not just for show, it was an essential part of his character. Miss Smith echoes the values that Miss Williams remembers, recalling that Mr. Combs consistently showed up with discipline, vision, and an unwavering sense of purpose. Now, at Bad Boy, Mr. Combs didn't just influence music, he transformed culture. He helped build careers, communities, and confidence. For longtime employee LaShawn Owens, working for Mr. Combs gave employees permission to dream big, act boldly, and hustle with purpose. Being around him felt like witnessing history. Every session was a masterclass. He demanded excellence because he gave excellence. Mr. Combs' brother-in-law, who worked at Daddy's House recording studio for many years, recalls that for the artist, everything had to be learned. Talent was everywhere. Effort was the only thing that set you apart. He says that many Bad Boy artists went on to achieve success, not only in music, but across the corporate and professional world. in large part because Sean invested in developing talent and creating opportunities for those willing to work hard and seize them. Mr. Combs also created opportunities for women and interns at Bad Boy, fostering an inclusive culture with opportunities for everyone who wanted to work hard. Shannon Ridley, a former employee at Bad Boy, remembers that Mr. Combs fostered an environment at Daddy's House recording studios where both men and women felt comfortable and respected. Okay, former A&R executive at Bad Boy, Dr. Hadmira Leacock describes the role that she held at the label with many, saying, women in the music industry were rarely given opportunities beyond roles as artists, writers, or assistants. The idea of a woman serving as an AR executive was almost unheard of. Yet Sean trusted me with that title and responsibility to help bring his creative vision to life. Now, that decision forever shaped the trajectory of my career and my life. It taught me that success is not always about being the one in the spotlight. Sometimes it's about standing beside greatness, learning from it, and using that wisdom to create your own path. Now, with that all being said, I'm not going to read all of this. I'm just going to start scrolling to get to some of the letters, okay? So we can get through this. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, this is part of a letter from Stephen Hill, the former head of BET. On this night, Suge grabs the microphone. Okay, he's talking about the 1995 Source Awards in New York City, where all of hip hop is in this one. 3,000 seat room. He says, on this night, Suge grabs the microphone while accepting an award and says, any artist out there that wants to be an artist and stay a star and don't want to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the records, dancing, come to Death Row. That was a direct shot at New York City Sean Combs. The Paramount Theater at Madison Square Garden at the moment became a tinderbox. I was there, and I describe it as the only room I was in where I could feel the air change in the moments. Lots of screaming, subsequently lots of booing, and you could feel fingers on triggers, literally and figuratively. Mr. Combs was scheduled to present an award about 15 minutes later, and everyone knew it. In the braggadocious art form of hip hop, backing down is for suckers. So how will Puff Daddy address this missile launched at him? Not a missile launch. Fortunately for lives and for hip hop, and that did not happen. Mr. Combs understood what was at stake, risked being called soft, and was the bigger man. I'm a positive black man and I make music to bring us together and not separate us. And all this East and West, that needs to stop. I'm very proud of Dr. Dre of Death Row and Suge Knight for their accomplishments. And if Bad Boy can become as successful as they are, we'll be happy. Many in hip hop talk about Suge's words. Puff deserves more recognition for quelling all the angst in the room. No incidents, no tragedy. Now, next is Christopher Hicks, a former colleague. He reflects on his time as well, stating that when tensions rose at this time, saying to the point of that threats of violence were made, Sean stepped in, not with ego or bravado, but with calm and wisdom. He diffused the situation with maturity far beyond his years. He didn't escalate, he didn't walk away. He mediated, resolved, and protected both sides from a potentially tragic outcome. That's the side of Sean Combs the world doesn't always get to see. All right. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, I'll start right here. Jun Choi, who was Mr. Combs' longtime stylist, also felt like part of his family. Mr. Choi worked long hours with Mr. Combs and recalls that Mr. Combs always made me feel included, never like just a staff member, but like part of the family. Over time, Mr. Combs and his family became the second family I never knew I needed, and I will always treasure the warmth and memories we shared. Mr. Combs' chef of 5 years from 2019 to 2024 described Mr. Combs as making sure the people in his home felt valued. I truly loved working there, not just because of the role itself, but because it didn't feel like a job. It felt like I was coming in to cook for a family member. Another one of Mr. Combs's former chefs echoed this as well. She noted that Mr. Combs, his family, and his staff often showed personal concern for me and my children. She remembers several occasions when I needed to leave work unexpectedly to care for my children. It was never an issue. Even when I was late because of the realities of raising three children, I was always met with patience and understanding rather than criticism. That sentiment is shared by many of Combs's friends. Norman D. Keith, Miss Porter's best friend, recalls that Mr. Combs has always made everyone feel welcome, supported, and uplifted. She spent countless moments with her family, Sundays at the house, holiday meals, birthdays, and quiet afternoons. I've seen Sean lead the family in prayer, speak with humility and gratitude, and create a home that is deeply rooted in love, faith, and community. The family he built is one of beauty and care. Another friend, Shay Omolabi, remembers that I became family and always had a seat at the table for family dinners, birthdays, holidays, everything. It was the same people that were always around when it wasn't an event. Now, since the beginning of his career, Mr. Combs has sought to guide and build up the Black community, shape young artists and entrepreneurs, and show others the importance of hard work and career goals. Dallas Austin, a prominent music producer and friend of 30 years, has seen Mr. Combs' extraordinary ability to connect with people and inspire collaboration, bringing out the best in the artists that he has worked with. His friend Desmond Ryan bears witness to Mr. Combs extending compassion and guidance to countless other artists and members of the community. Mr. Combs has consistently used his platform to uplift those who might otherwise have been overlooked, doing so quietly and without the need for credit or attention. His commitment to mentorship, fairness, and opportunity has had a ripple effect that continues to benefit entire families and communities. As Carisha Brownlee, a fellow artist and one of Mr. Combs's girlfriends of many years, puts it, Sean has always made it a priority to open doors for Black people to make sure we are seen, heard, and valued in spaces we were historically excluded from. Okay, now I've read the entire letter from Young Miami, so we're going to skip past that. Now, Brittany Hall, who views Mr. Combs as her uncle, says that at pivotal moments in my life, he opened his doors to me and even provided, excuse me, and even provided life-changing job opportunities, always with the reminder that nothing is given without hard work and commitment. Not only does he open doors, but he teaches his employees lessons about leadership and entrepreneurship. Excuse me. A former colleague that Mr. Combs is says Mr. Combs' style of leadership is rare. One thing I can say without hesitation, I am one of many successful executives, music executives, who came up under the influence of Sean Combs. He studied him, or we studied him, learned from him, and applied those lessons in our own careers. Hold on, you guys. I'm losing my voice. Hold on for 1 second. Okay, I had to drink some tea with some honey or something. Ooh, okay, now let me try this again. So anyway, it goes on to say that a former colleague says Mr. Combs' style of leadership is rare, saying one thing I can say without hesitation, I am one of many successful music executives who came up under the influence of Sean Combs. We studied him, learned from him, and applied those lessons in our own careers. In doing so, we weren't just following his example, we were building upon a legacy that he helped to create. The ripple effects of his leadership and innovation continue to influence the culture to this day. June Choi also goes on to say, despite the obstacles, Mr. Combs took me under his wing, believed in my talent, and continuously pushed me to strive for excellence. He encouraged me never to settle for less. And even during the long hours and demanding schedules, the experience was always rewarding. His drive and belief in me inspired a mindset that anything is possible if you truly dedicate yourself to it. Sean consistently demonstrated an unmatched work ethic and drive. He demanded excellence not only from himself, but also from those around him, fostering an environment that pushed us to reach higher. He is a cheerleader, the motivator, the one who can lift you up when you are at your lowest. His pep talks are legendary, and those who know him often describe him as having their very own TED Talk because he always knows how to inspire others to believe in themselves. Miss Oliveira similarly notes that Mr. Combs builds up the people around him. She writes that he uplifted me, gave me confidence, and helped me recognize my own strength at a time in my life when I needed that kind of belief. Shannon Ridley, who used to work with Mr. Combs and has gone on to success, is grateful to Mr. Combs, saying Sean pushed me to realize my potential and never make excuses. His mentorship helped me to live my dream so I can now focus on my purpose, God, family, and my business. They have Diddy sounding like Joel Osteen, don't they? All right. And this stuff is probably all true. This is probably all true because just as well as we all have bad sides, a bad side and bad points about us, we also have good ones. Okay, at the end of the day. Some people just don't see the good sides of us, and unfortunately, some people only have seen the bad. Now, Mr. Combs is generous with his time, truly wanting those who surround him to succeed. Now, Roger Romaine, a former colleague, remembers that many years ago, during a particularly challenging moment in my career, he took the time to offer guidance and encouragement that helped me find clarity and move forward. His words were not grand gestures meant for show, but genuine counsel rooted in wanting to see others succeed. By believing in people, even when they do not believe in themselves, Mr. Combs encourages others to be better, smarter, and work harder. Mr. Combs was an inspiration to those who knew him and worked with him over the years, starting at Bad Boy and continuing his other ventures. Jamil Spencer, who joined Bad Boy in 2000, recalls that while negotiating, while negotiating, hold on his role as general manager of the business, Mr. Combs insisted that Mr. Spencer be the president. Mr. Combs said to him, no one wants to make decisions with the general manager. They want to speak to the president. Mr. Combs also saw the best version of people, even when they didn't see that version of themselves. A former Bad Boy artist, Marlon Hatcher, is thankful for Mr. Combs' words of wisdom that Mr. Combs taught him. Mr. Combs would insist that they should turn obstacles into opportunities and problems into possibilities. This advice helped Mr. Hatcher find the strength to reclaim himself. To his friends, Mr. Combs would provide advice and seed money for their businesses. Angela Alcantara, who Mr. Combs used to date, recalls that Mr. Combs supported my pursuit for higher education, helped me establish my aesthetics business, and even guided me in building a positive mindset. Now, his longtime friends, LaWanda Lane and Jeff Burrows, describe Mr. Combs' advice as inspirational. Miss Lane, who has known Mr. Combs for 3 decades, says that throughout that time, he would continuously give me advice about my passions. One day, she says, he sat me down for 2 hours and told me everything I was doing wrong in my business and how to change it to make it work for me. I learned to I learned a wise lesson that less is best. Be private and be intentional in all I do. Sounds like Diddy may have a new line of work when he gets out. Maybe he can become a life coach, okay? Because that's what they're making him sound like. He sounds like a life coach. And we all know that we have heard Diddy say some very positive, motivational, and inspirational things, okay? Despite his negative aspects, we do know that we have heard Diddy saying a whole lot of motivational sounding stuff, okay? Y'all, would y'all agree? Would you all agree once in the chat, beloveds? Once in the chat, if you agree that Diddy is very motivational. Who agrees with that? Haven't y'all heard Diddy speaking motivational or inspirational words of wisdom? Rashid is so nefarious. Rashid said the devil can quote the scripture also. Rashid, you are so nefarious for that, beloved. Okay? You are so nefarious. I mean, true, but nefarious nonetheless, beloved. Okay? Thank you for that laugh. That tickled me this morning. Okay, not the devil can quote the scripture too. Special K said he always pushed for Black excellence, and this is true. Okay, all a hot mess. Miss Johnson, hold on. Who is this? Miss Thomas said, Queen, can you give the info on the Ramika cake? Yeah, we'll talk about that later, beloved. We're not going to talk about that now because I don't want to mix the two. We'll talk about that on a separate video later on, okay, at 6 o'clock or 6:30. But let me continue because y'all are something else. So anyway, goes on to say, his longtime friends, LaWanda Lane and Jeff Burrows, described Mr. Combs' advice as inspirational. Okay, Miss Lane, who has known Mr. Combs. Oh, I already read that part. Hold on. How did I get up here? Hold on. Okay, so Jeff Burrows describes Mr. Combs as a steadfast friend and confidant who offers sobering advice or simply an ear to listen and quietly reflect. His daughters have always admired this about their father as well. They recognize their father as always wanting the best for people and always and allows people to chase their passions and dreams through his advice and teachings. Mr. Grimes describes this as Mr. Combs' gift because Mr. Combs has offered me advice and opportunities without ever asking for anything in return. Okay. Now, whenever I felt discouraged, whether about music or personal struggles, he always knew how to uplift my spirits with his word. Now, in a similar vein, friend Desmond Ryan notes how Mr. Combs helped him navigate critical career decisions. He says, at a point when I lacked the experience to protect myself in contractual matters, Sean stepped in to assist me in negotiating fair deals, ensuring I was not taken advantage of, and teaching me how to advocate for myself moving forward. These lessons were invaluable and instrumental in helping me sustain and grow my career. Now, music producer Charles Alexander has known Mr. Combs since 1990 and is currently a professor of music production and engineering at Berklee College of Music. He has found such value in Mr. Combs' advice that he has relayed much of Mr. Combs' business acumen to thousands of students across 20 years of teaching music production and audio engineering. Mr. Combs is also incredibly philanthropic and cares about the community here in New York and elsewhere. As Miss Chapman notes, that through mentorships, charitable donations, public and private, or simply lending help when others are in need, Sean Combs has always been a reliable man. Okay, since founding Bad Boy, Mr. Combs has also founded and is the chairman of Sean Combs Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization which handles Mr. Combs' charitable and philanthropic endeavors. Now, through the Sean Combs Foundation, he has consistently used his platform to serve. Now, if I didn't know any better, I think Diddy was a whole saint. Listening to all of this, okay? I would think Diddy was a whole saint. Now, from winning the New York City marathon to raise funds for children, to donating to inner city schools, supporting hurricane relief, and awarding scholarships through the Sean Combs Foundation, Mr. Combs has always given back, even if it means not making headlines. Let me tell you something, though. I'm being funny saying that, if I didn't know any better, I think he was a saint. But seriously, this just goes to show all the stuff that Diddy has done for his community. Okay, I hope y'all are paying attention. I hope y'all are paying attention because Diddy has done a lot for his community. Now, you can't deny that. Okay. You can't deny that. Though he's done some nefarious things, and plenty of celebrities have. All right. Theirs just has been put on blast. That all being said, Diddy has done a lot for his community, and that's just the fact. Now, longtime friend Karen Anderson states that Mr. Combs' philanthropic efforts reflects a long-standing commitment to helping others and creating opportunities for those in need. Mr. Combs has actively supported and donated millions to after-school programs and organizations like the Boys and Girl Clubs of America. He also has supported organizations including the National Foundation for Teaching Entrepreneurship, creating opportunities for young entrepreneurs. His sister, Keisha, is the foundation's director and president and describes its mission, which is for Mr. Combs to give back in countless ways, saying that he has donated his time, money, and resources to support schools and students, providing laptops, Wi-Fi hotspots, and books to help close the education gap. He funded scholarships for children to attend sleepaway camps, supported Saturday school offering technology classes, SAT prep, African studies, and manhood and womanhood classes. He sponsored Wall Street visits to teach financial literacy, HBCU college tours, and even an educational trip for students to Africa. He has helped fund school libraries in underserved communities, supported STEM and STEAM programs, paid off school tuition balances, and provided startup funding to young entrepreneurs. He has also contributed to numerous health organizations. I'm gonna tell you all right now, I didn't know Diddy did half of this stuff. Honey, I didn't know that Diddy did half of this stuff. Okay. Now I knew Diddy did some things, but did y'all know he did all of this? I know y'all didn't. Okay. I know y'all didn't. All right. Sierra said Tyler Perry and Pastor Jake have done a lot for their community too. Um, Grant said we can't allow these other races to down any of our people. All right. G from the land said they're taking Mount. They're trying to make him seem like a saint. Well, that's what I said. But these are things that he actually did, though. Grant said he doesn't brag about it. That's why. Exactly. Exactly, beloved. And that's the point. Okay. That's the point. So, with the end of the day, I'm saying he did all of this and we likely don't know about it because he hasn't talked about it. Okay. But let's continue. Now, OG Patrice is so low down. OJ Patrice said cream puff honeycombs is like Dexter, the serial killer with a heart. You need to sit down, OG Patrice. What a shame of you. You should be ashamed of yourself, beloved. You should be ashamed of yourself. Not a serial killer. Did he never hurt nobody? Except Cassie in that video. But anyway, I digress. Now, with that all being said, hold on. Queen Sam said they said bad boys move in silence. Y'all are terrible, okay? Y'all are something else. Anyway, let me continue. All right. Now, so a cornerstone of his philanthropy is education. Now, in 2003, Mr. Combs ran the New York City Marathon to raise money for inner city education, which inspired his friends and brought awareness to the importance of education for young people. Now, many years later, he fulfilled a lifelong dream of contributing to education for the youth when, with a partner, he opened Capital Preparatory Harlem Capital Charter School in 2016 to provide high quality education to inner city youth in New York City. The success of this initiative led to the launch of Capital Preparatory Bronx Charter School. Okay, do y'all hear that? Okay, sorry, beloveds, I was talking to someone. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say, and so he opened up this school. Now, the success of this initiative led to the launch of Capital Preparatory Bronx Charter School in 2020, with Combs donating $1 million to support its development. For Mr. Combs, the establishment of Capital Preparatory Harlem Charter School was not a publicity project. It was a deeply personal mission. Now, Capital Preparatory Harlem Charter School was more than philanthropy, it was legacy building. Mr. Combs has also been proactive in health and disaster relief efforts, having raised over $2 million for New York City Public School and hosting a virtual dance-a-thon that raised more than $4 million to provide personal protective equipment to healthcare workers on the front line of the pandemic. Okay, now what do y'all think about all of this? Diddy has done a whole lot of deeds, honey. It says Mr. Combs' good deeds, however, extend far beyond his philanthropy. He is a dedicated father and member of the community who remains a constant presence during the good times and bad. All right. Stephen Hill, the former BET president, recalls how Mr. Combs was there for him when he struggled professionally after losing his job as the head of the network. He said, "Once I had nothing to offer, calls were unreturned and unavailabilities became plentiful. Sean Combs was the exception. Not only did he continually call and check on my well-being, he was constantly encouraging and made sure that I was included in events so I would stay warm. As a former, I could do anything for this man." And Mr. Combs always remains a busy person. He showed himself to be kind, compassionate, a compassionate friend to me during and beyond that difficult time. All right. So that all being said, this is who Mr. Combs is, checking on friends and acquaintances during their time in need to ensure they do not spiral into a depression. For example, his former employee, Claudine, describes one of the moments that showed her the depth of his character, which was on September the 11th of 2011. Her uncle was missing, and she told Mr. Combs that she couldn't bear the smell of the city because it reminded me of the fire in which my mother had died just a few years earlier. Without hesitation, Sean told me to stay in his Hamptons home, and he made sure I would not be alone, sending friends to join me within days. Now, that was emblematic of his character, someone who steps in when you need it most without asking for anything in return. And another longtime friend, LaShawn Owens, describes Mr. Combs' compassion and presence in his life during his time in need when Mr. Owens lost both of his parents in the same week in 2008. He says, "It was Mr. Combs in the midst of his own demanding life who reached out, called my house, and urged me not to give up. He reminded me that my parents would want me to succeed. He gave me a reason to stand back up." Now, uh, Sean's character was shown during each family member's death over the years. He was exceptionally supportive to both my mother and me, offering support or offering comfort, ensuring that we felt cared for, and reminding me to take time to grieve. His sincere concern during such a difficult time demonstrated a depth of empathy that I will never forget. To encompass this compassion extended to employees suffering from loss and sickness as well. Sean John's former controller, Raymond Philpott, is still grateful to Mr. Combs, showing him extraordinary compassion during one of the most challenging periods of his life. He says, "When my father became gravely ill, I approached Mr. Combs, intending to resign from my position so I could return home to care for him. I explained the situation, fully prepared to step away from my career. To my utter surprise, Mr. Combs refused to accept my resignation. Instead, he extended a gesture of profound kindness and offered me paid leave with full benefits so I could focus entirely on being with my father. I was overwhelmed with gratitude. I will never forget that evening after sharing my problem. We shook hands, embraced, and Mr. Combs said in a heartfelt prayer for me, He said a heartfelt prayer for me. His words and presence brought me a sense of peace and support that went far beyond the workplace. Even while I was on leave, his unwavering generosity and compassion had a powerful impact on me and my family. Sadly, about a month later, my father passed away after a brave battle with his illness. The outpouring of condolences, flowers, and messages from the office family, including Mr. Combs himself, meant more than words can express. All right, so I'm gonna leave it right there. I think we have read enough. I think we get the message. Okay, all of these people are basically saying, that Diddy was there for them. He's done good things for them. And despite, some contrary opinions, they feel like he is still a good person, apparently. Okay. So what do you all think? What do you all think? Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And here's the thing, beloveds. Um, Is Trump a good person? Hell no, says Mel. Well, we know Trump is a good person, honey. Leon said, Diddy been in jail long enough. Okay. He said, Diddy has been in jail long enough. Well, I have to agree, beloveds. I have to agree with you. So now with that all being said, let me just tell you all something. Hold on here. Hold on. Hold on one darn second. Y'all know something? Okay, now before I roll out of here, I'm gonna read a couple of more letters from you for you all, okay? I'm gonna read the letter from Miss Janice Combs. Okay, I'm gonna read the letter from Miss Janice Combs because actually I have the full letters from everybody, but I'm not gonna read the full letters from everybody. Okay, I actually have those in a separate file, and I didn't want to read the full letters because we don't want to be here all day. So that's why I just read some of that within there. But let's go through a couple more of these letters. I'll read them in their entirety, like one or two, and then we're out of here. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Okay. Um, Grant says we didn't hear any of this info when they kept denying him bail and tried to hit him with the RICO. I know, right? We didn't hear any of it in court. They didn't call any character witnesses, but I think that was because they were winning. They felt like they were doing good. Okay. Mel said people are going to side eye Diddy because he's been exposed. I mean, people already side eyeing him. At the end of the day, people are already side eyeing him. I'm sure he's past the point of worrying about that at this point. Now, with that being said, this is the letter from his mom, Miss Janice Combs. Okay, hold on just a second. Let me just download this because it might be easier. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, hold on, beloveds. Let me take this off the screen. Here we go. All right. So we're going to start with Mama Combs. This is her full letter. Dear Judge Subramanian, my name is Janice Combs, and Sean Combs is my only child. I'm writing this letter to implore your honor to please have mercy on my son. Sean has always been a loving and caring son, and on December the 21st, I will be 85 years old. This separation for the past year while Sean has been incarcerated has been excruciatingly difficult and painful for me and his children. I would like to be able to spend the last few years of my life with my son, Sean. Unfortunately, my son has made some terrible mistakes in his life, which I know he recognizes. Sean has 2 years. Sean was 2 years old when his father passed away, and I raised my son as a single mother. I was also caring for my elderly ailing mother. I worked 3 jobs to provide my son a good education. I drove a bus from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Then in the evenings, I worked at the United Cerebral Palsy Home caring for patients. I also worked on the weekends as a salesperson in a clothing store. When my son was 9 years old, tragedy struck the family again. We were informed that my brother had died of a rug overdose, leaving his 5-year-old daughter, Keisha, an orphan. My brother and my niece were my only remaining family members at the time of his death. I suddenly found myself having to adopt my niece and prevent her from going into foster care. Despite all these traumatic experiences, Sean somehow managed to be a good student. He performed well in school and always promised to work hard to provide for me, so that I would not have to work 3 jobs ever again. As a teenager, he worked as a newspaper delivery boy and held other after-school jobs to assist with the family or with the household expenses. Nothing was really easy for my son growing up. Even when he started making his music, he faced rejection and the clubs would not play his music. They just did not think he was good enough. This did not make my son angry at the world. He kept going, never giving up, until eventually his hard work paid off. He had become very successful. I have to say that I saw his success also came with a tremendous amount of responsibilities, which was sometimes overwhelming. Still, with all that, my son managed to be present for his children, caring, loving, and making sure the children's needs were met and instilling values in them. I also depend on Sean for emotional support. He always looked after my health and well being. This was crucial as I have no one else to care for me. 4 of his children lost their mother not too long ago. The kids, especially the boys, are still having a very difficult time dealing with the loss of their mother. The loss of their father has been devastating. I will never excuse any wrongdoing committed by Sean. I was always very strict with him growing up. I appeal to the kindness of your heart to allow my son to be able to sit at the dinner table with his family, to allow him to raise his children, and to instill in them the need to be respectful, get an education, and just be God's children with love in their hearts. Please allow my son to be present in his children's lives and be able to answer any questions his children may have, to be able to help them through any difficulties they might encounter in their lives. I beg your honor to let him help them through the healing processes from the loss of their mother and the pain and the sleepless nights they have had since Sean's incarceration. My health has deteriorated these last couple of years. I had 2 brain surgeries and monthly follow ups. I'm having a real difficulty controlling my diabetes. My doctor informed me that the diabetes has affected my heart, which may result in a stroke. I don't know how much longer I will be around, but I would love to be able to see him and his children together again. Ooh, honey, respectfully, Jazz Combs, honey, that's a tearjerker. Do y'all hear that? That is a tearjerker, honey. Y'all hear that, right? I think I have a couple of tears in my eyes. How about y'all? That was very heartfelt. What do you guys think? Y'all think that was heartfelt? What do y'all have to say? What do y'all have to say? Anybody got anything to say? Any perspective, any thoughts, views, comments, or snide remarks? Leon said, let's not forget, jail was designed for us. Enslavement didn't end, it evolved. The struggle continues. Not the struggle continues. Okay. Rashid said, have crocodile tears. I have crocodile tears. Do they count? Rashid, you are so nefarious, okay? You are something else, honey. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. Grant said, I'm not satisfied until hold on. Y'all are some characters in this chat. Grant says, I'm not satisfied till they let him out. The way they been denying bail ain't no telling how the judge will do because it seemed like he's been paid off. I mean, the judge does seem hell bent on keeping Diddy in there, doesn't he? He was biased for the prosecution the whole time, in my opinion. OG Patrice said, Janice, you forgot to mention you ran a brothel back in the day. OG Patrice, that lady didn't run no brothel. That lady was working 3 hard jobs, honey. You need to sit your behind down somewhere. You are so nefarious, too. Pearlie said, not me, Queen. Everyone has a story to tell. Ooh, honey, y'all are going hard in the paint. Luna putting the smallest violins. Ooh, I absolutely cannot, honey. I hope I never need you little low down dirty devils to be a character witness for me, honey. Y'all are going hard in the paint. I can only imagine what you low down little nefarious ones will say about me. I could hear it all now. Y'all be bringing up old stuff from when I have gone in on people on the live streams, when I've got mad and talked to y'all crazy. Y'all are just low down, honey. I can't depend on any of you. That's obvious. Let me continue. But let me continue with y'all's nefarious selves. Anyway, this is from his sister. This is from his sister Keisha. Okay. Do we want to read this one? Hold on. Let's find another one that's more juicy. Hold on. Who's this from? This is from Dallas Austin. Yeah, let's read Dallas's. Okay, that's what I want to read. Dear Judge Subramanian, my name is Dallas Austin, a music and film producer that has worked in the music industry for 35 plus years. I have produced for artists such as Boys to Men, TLC, Madonna, Lionel Richie, just to name a few. I have received many accolades for my work and have known and respected Sean Combs and his body of work as it relates to the music business. Now, it is with genuine admiration that I write this letter on behalf of my friend, Sean Combs. Y'all hear that? He still calls him his friend. I have had the privilege of knowing him since the 90s. And during that time, he has proven to be a family man, a tireless professional, and a respected leader in the music industry. I have admired the dedication he has given to his companies over the years. And you all know that Diddy has known Dallas Austin for quite some time, honey, because you all do know that Dallas Austin went to high school with Kim Porter. In fact, they went to prom together, Dallas Austin and Kim Porter. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say, as I have become to know Sean over the years, he has become like a brother to me. I have always seen him as a man of unwavering dedication to his loved ones, his family, especially his mom and children. He is a devoted father whose family always comes first. The balance he maintains between his personal and professional life is both inspiring and admirable. In the music world, Sean is a force to be reckoned with. Through years of hard work, creativity, and perseverance, he has built a reputation as a key influencer in his field. His contributions, whether through production, promotion, talent development, or leadership, have helped shape the careers of many and brought value to countless projects that he has an extraordinary ability to connect people and inspire collaboration, bringing out the best in the artists that he has worked with. Now, as a friend, I look at the positive influences. I look at the positive influences that he has had on this music business. I think back at the time I was in London and found out that he was in Italy. So I met him there. I think back on our conversations of how to become better men. He specifically asked me how he could become a better person, how he can give back and get involved with community. I think these were the beginning thoughts of his prep school. I can remember us going to different churches of different denominations. I often refer to this as our spiritually guided weekend. Both Sean and his music have made a historic mark in music history, and anyone young or old cannot deny they cannot are they that they have not been touched, influenced, motivated, or simply taken to a place in time when hearing his music. I am hoping for leniency so he can heal, pray, and seek needed counseling. Sincerely, Dallas Austin. Now, see, here's the thing. I like Dallas's letter. Cedar said, sounds like he was oiled down. Ooh, you need to quit. I like Dallas's letter because it wasn't too over the top. Okay, it was basically to the point. It wasn't oversaturated with the angelic type wording and things like that. Okay, yes, Claudette said nice letter. Yes, okay. Look at Deronda talking about dragging Jag the Diva was epic, Queen. Look at your little nefarious self. Why are you even remembering that? Such a darn shame. But let me continue. Grant said, go read that Vince McMahon was accused of and served no jail time. Oh, Grant, I know. I reported on that, beloved. All these other people that were accused and all this stuff and got bail or didn't get even any jail time, I reported on all of them. Trust me. Every last one. Okay, now this is from Tiffany Brown. She's a university professor. Okay, so let's talk about it. Dear Judge Subramanian, my name is Dr. Tiffany Brown, and I am currently a university professor with a PhD in child development and family science. I have spent my career studying human development, resilience, and the importance of relational and emotional support systems across the lifespan. Now, I am writing to provide a character reference to Mr. Sean Combs, whom I have known since 1996. Over the course of nearly 3 decades, I have interacted with him in various settings, publicly with friends and colleagues, privately in more intimate social gatherings and one-on-one, and I have consistently experienced him as kind, thoughtful, and generous. There has never been a time in my interactions with Mr. Combs, where I felt unsafe, compromised, or questioned his intentions. His character has, as I've known it, has always been marked by decency and an authentic desire to uplift those around him. When I earned my PhD and was seeking to expand my professional opportunities beyond higher education, Mr. Combs graciously connected me and his publicist, or with his publicist, who supported me at no cost, solely because of the trust and respect Mr. Combs extended on my behalf. That moment speaks volumes about his willingness to support others' growth. I have also witnessed Mr. Combs as a deeply loving father and devoted son. His children have always been a central focus in his life, and I know he has taken great pride in nurturing them and being present for the milestones that matter most. Likewise, his bond with his mother and close family members has been a steady anchor for him throughout the years. Family has consistently played a grounding and guiding role in his life, and I believe this connection continues to be one of the strongest motivators for his healing and growth. It is difficult for me to reconcile the current circumstances with the person I've known for so many years. While I do not claim to know all aspects of his recent life, I do believe that the core of his struggles are related to substance use. Now, this is a doctor saying this, mind you. I sincerely hope that with the right treatment and support systems in place, Mr. Combs will have the opportunity to heal and address the deeper issues that have brought him to this moment. Your Honor, I do not write this letter to excuse or minimize any behavior that may have caused harm, but rather to offer a fuller view of the person I've known, someone who, when grounded and supported, has consistently demonstrated generosity, care, and a willingness to help others succeed. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, Dr. Tiffany L. Brown, PhD. Now, see, this was a good letter also. It wasn't too much. It wasn't oversaturated. It just stuck to the point and talked about him healing and the person that he can be when he's doing better and things like that. All this other stuff just making it so, so just like I said, angelic or whatever, the judge is not going to buy that, in my opinion. The judge is going to be like, yeah, this is just all too much. The fact that some of these other letters are in here is much better. Okay, so this is LaWanda Lane. Okay, I'm going to skip past this one. This is Justin. This is Quincy. We are read some of that. This is a former employee named Robert House. Let's see what he has to say. My name is Robert House. I'm a former employee of Sean Combs. Our relationship is a little different because I met him back in 1989 before all of his fame and fortune. At that time, he was attending Howard University and I was at Delaware State University. Sean, or Puffy, as I knew him, was throwing parties on his summer break from college and I was working security on my summer break from college. Our colleges were big football rivals at the time. So sometimes we'd go back and forth with competitive banter and jest. I became one of his most trusted security guards. But after the summer, I returned back to school to continue my education and pursue my career in football. After that, I only bumped into Sean from time to time when I came home from school on vacation. Now, meanwhile, Sean continued to promote parties, then became a successful A&R at Uptown Records. Eventually, he left Uptown Records and started his own record label, Bad Boy Records. The next time that I bumped into Sean was in 1997 when I was working security, the Tunnel nightclub in New York City. Now, by this time, I had left college in pursuit of a professional football career, which had failed. I ended up working security at various nightclubs, but then Bad Boy Records had become, or by then, Bad Boy Records had become one of the most successful record labels in the world and was preparing for the Puff Daddy and the Family No Way Out tour. Now, Sean was elated to see me. He remembered how valued and trusted I was as a security guard and invited me to go on tour with the label doing personal security for him and his artist. I gladly accepted and was welcomed with open arms into the Bad Boy Records family. The success of the tour went through the roof, selling out arenas worldwide. I fit in perfectly and was treated like family. After the tour was over, Sean kept me employed. I continued to do security at his restaurant, Justin's, as well as at the Bad Boy office and at his recording studio called Daddy's House. I frequently went back out on the road with Sean or many of his artists for shows, concerts, and events. I was entrusted with gate codes and door codes to Combs' residences and businesses, as well as access to his fleet of high-end automobiles. At times, I even secured his then girlfriend, Kim Porter, and his sons, Justice and Quincy. So it's safe to say that I was highly trusted by Sean and his family. Speaking of Justin and Quincy, I have to say that Sean was an amazing and loving dad. As busy as he was at the time, he always found time to spend with his two sons. Back then, he only had those two, not to mention that Quincy is not Sean's biological son. He's Sean's deceased girlfriend, Kim Porter's son, that she had with her ex. Nevertheless, Sean loved and embraced him like he was his own. Whatever Justin got, Quincy got. In 2004, I left Bad Boy Records to branch out on my own. I went on to work with many other recorded artists and started my own security company. I left the company on good terms. I owe much of my success to Sean for taking me out on the road with him, introducing me to so many people and showing me the ins and outs of working in entertainment. I currently work security on TV and film in New York, and I'm a part-time actor, writer. Throughout the years, Combs and I have always kept a good rapport. One time he saw me while driving in South Beach, Miami, and was so happy to see me that he jumped out of his car in the middle of traffic to greet me. My aunt was working at Hartsfield Jackson Airport in Atlanta and was checking him in to board a plane. When she mentioned that she was my aunt, Sean went around the counter and hugged her like she was his own aunt that he hadn't seen in years. His warm gesture really made her feel special. She was the talk around Delta Airlines for months. I am very appreciative of my relationship with Sean Combs and have a great deal of gratitude for everything that he's done for me. Being around him and working with him for those years, his work ethic rubbed off on me. At times, I saw his hunger and drive keep him working 24 hours straight. He helped to instill that drive in me. He always treated me with a great deal of value and respect. In an attempt to show my gratitude for Puffy, I even showed up a few times and sat in at the trial in your courtroom. I'm the big guy that your court officer had to keep nudging to wake up. Not to wake up. I was there to show my appreciation and to support him when many other people turned their backs on him. He always treated me well, so I insisted on being there for him in return. I appreciate Sean Combs. Thank you for your time and for reading my letter. Did y'all hear that? Not the big one that kept falling asleep. Sincerely, Robert L. House. All right. So anyway, DJ Big Six said, now that's a real genuine letter. Absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree. Okay, so this is one from Normandy Keith. Let me see how many we have here. It's a whole lot of letters, and I'm here to tell y'all I'm not reading all of them, okay? Not reading all of them. Y'all see these pictures? Y'all see these pictures? I mean, it's a whole lot of letters. It just goes to show that there are people that care about Diddy. This is from Lewis Jones, okay, someone who worked in fashion and sports, okay, in entertainment. He went to New Rochelle High School, right? And so I might read one more, then I'm out of here. This one, uh, Karen Anderson. That's likely a friend. This is one from Prince Charles Alexander, three-time Grammy award-winning producer. Let's read this one. Dear Your Honor, I hope this day finds you well. My name is Charles Alexander, professionally known as Prince Charles Alexander. I am a three-time Grammy-winning music producer and audio engineer that is currently a professor of music production and engineering at Berklee Music of College in Boston, Massachusetts. I met Sean Combs in 1990 when he was an A&R representative for Uptown Records, the most prolific young and Black-owned record label in New York City at the time. I was the recording and mixing engineer for Jodeci, one of the acts on the Uptown roster that he was responsible for. His name was quickly becoming legend at this time. And when I finally met him during the end of our project, Puffy, as we knew him then, revealed himself to be a respectful and focused music lover, okay, that had a deep appreciation for the skills that I brought to the Jodeci project. Now, when the group left for Rochester to record their second album, Puffy called me to work on other groups from his A&R roster. That led me to working with Father MC, Mary J. Blige, Heavy D and the Boys, and several other artists on the Uptown label. I was working with Puff when his equipment was moved from the Hit Factory, where John Lennon recorded, to his own facility named Daddy's House. As an independent contractor, I worked with Puffy shortly after that initial meeting in 1990 until I began looking for teaching appointments in 2004. During that time, I saw Puffy's world change from a simple one involving record production to one that is more complex and involves several successful entrepreneurships across a variety of lifestyle brands. Even though he is 12 years my junior, I have long admired his Horatio Alger-esque rags to riches success story. Diligence and attention to detail are hallmarks of his personality that have stuck with me all these years. I vividly remember the immediate callbacks when we were in the pager generation. His pager was truly a way to communicate and build a vast network that would eventually span the U.S. and has since spanned the globe. I remember Sean's pensiveness when he was set to release the first Bad Boy record, Flavor in Your Ear by Craig Mack. He said to me, I'm not sure if this will work, but it did, and Puffy's legend was set in motion. Puffy graciously included me as one of the lead engineers on his Grammy-winning album, No Way Out by Puff Daddy and the Family in 1996 through 1997. The album was recorded primarily in Atlanta, and the manager of the project denied that he had created an error with my pay. Now, when I brought it to Sean's attention, he resolved the issue quickly and satisfactorily on my behalf. I did not know Sean's personal life. I do know, or he said, I do not know Sean's personal life. I do know him as one of the most dynamic and successful entrepreneurs that I have known in my life. He has been a personal inspiration for me and my successes, and I have relayed much of his business acumen to thousands of students across my 20 years of teaching music production and audio engineering. I do know from firsthand observation that Sean is a young man that has had phenomenal success and faced terrifying dangers because of that success. It must be a lot to deal with at times, and I personally have empathy for the stresses that his successful lifestyle has created for him. I do not know how I or any person would process some of the more challenging issues to personal safety that Sean has had to deal with. I do not know how I or any person could look someone in the eye and know whether they cared about me or my money if I was worth $1 billion. I do not know how I or any person would release the stresses that build up when one is held up on a pedestal in the social media age. I do know that he is in a difficult place, is in need of help, and I am here to support him as a colleague and fellow flawed human being, as we all are. Thank you for allowing me to the platform to share my thoughts about Sean Combs. Sincerely, Prince Charles Alexander. Do y'all hear that? Now, that was a very nice and respectful letter, very well put together. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. I'm gonna stop it right there. They really care about Diddy, y'all. They wrote some very nice letters. Okay, and like I said, Diddy has a lot of friends. I know some of y'all probably thought nobody cared about Diddy. Nobody's gonna speak on his behalf because nobody came to court and all this and that. That's what some people were saying. I tried to tell them that nobody came and spoke on his behalf in court because his team felt like they were winning and they didn't need to. Like Judge Judy says, when you're winning, be quiet. And though he did get convicted of the two Mann Act offenses, those were the most minuscule charges. Okay, he beat the big ones. All right, so please pay attention. With that all being said, this is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Okay, because Diddy has to be back in court September the 25th and also October the 3rd for the sentencing. Okay, and the 25th, they're likely going to try to get those charges just tossed. So anyway, with that all being said, listen, I'm out of here. I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast. Purple said that was a well-constructed letter. Yes, it was. And here's the thing. I'll tell you something that was very important that I noticed about that letter, and maybe one or two others, that the person separated themselves from Diddy's accusations by saying that I don't know about his personal life. Did you all catch that? And that was smart. Okay? They separated themselves from his personal life and basically said, I don't know anything about all of that stuff. That's what they were saying without saying it. I don't know anything about his personal life. I just know how he did with the business and how he motivated people and how he did this and this. That was really good. And that's the way to do it. Like I said, the oversaturated way of trying to put all this stuff in like somebody's an angel, that's never going to cut it, in my opinion, because people know that none of us are perfect. So when you're writing a letter in support of someone, the last thing you want to do is make them sound like they're perfect or just goody two shoes, especially when they've been accused or convicted of nefarious things or things that are just not that good or whatever. You just want to be as honest as you can, and you can talk about the good and bad aspect of them. That's what I would have done, and said I don't condone the bad things like his mother did. Now, his mother wrote a good letter, but she put in of course, that's to be expected. For his mother to say all those overly sweet things about him, that's to be expected because that's his mom. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I think it was very well done for those who put in just, the basics and talked about things that he's done and showed them. And also, it was really good to put in all of the things that he's done in his community, his charitable givings and the things that he's done for other people, how he's helped other people when the man's father was dying, how he helped the employee, how he's let people stay home when they needed to be with their children, like the former chef said, and how he's gone out there and done things in the community and helped those who are less fortunate than him. And most of all, how he's done things quietly behind the scenes without asking or thinking about recognition, because a lot of times what you do in the dark or what you do behind closed doors can be just as exposing of your true character, when you do something good as when you do something bad. So it really goes to show the good and the bad side of a person, in my opinion. Okay, so with that all being said, Rashid said Diddy is his own PR. Rashid, sit down somewhere. Okay, he has a very good PR person. All right. Now, with that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this day. Mel said that part, Queen. Thank you, beloved. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this day. I will see you all back at 6:30. Yes, we're going to talk about Ramika Meeks and whatever else is trending. And I may throw in some stuff about Trump. We'll see. But we're definitely going to talk about Ramika Meeks. All right. Love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, instructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And also, beloveds, if there's any updates on David, we'll talk about that too. All right. Until next time, beloveds. Peace. All right. Technical difficulties. Again, I couldn't even play my darn song. Okay, I had to refresh the whole thing, but here we go. Have a good day, beloveds. Love y'all to life.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got